do you think the European experiment could end up failing?
If you want to solve this problem, legal immigration is the way. It's fucking stupid what is happening.
When you let so many immigrants in illegally and you don't manage it well, people will be upset.
Now we brought us to, in a way, so polarized, almost civil war in every country with illegal immigration.
Where are the results? It's been decades. Where are the results of the European Union?
In the European Parliament, they are working about so irrelevant stuff. 80% of their focus is on fucking bullshit.
You talked about how it's on your YouTube video. Now, a lot of people in the US don't know your story. I'm curious how an influencer like yourself, a YouTuber like yourself, managed to shake up European politics like this. So what was the day you decided to get into politics, and what was the strategy like? This is more of a kind of a personal question I'm curious about.
So, yeah, how I got into politics? I got into politics as a joke. So I wanted to make a YouTube video with a title, because I was a YouTuber, I had like 3 million subscribers. I was making millions of euros on YouTube with all these challenges. I was in a way copycat of Mr. Beast, copying in a way his strategy and his methods and all this stuff. I love Mr. Beast. He's the biggest YouTuber in the world. And I wanted to make a YouTube video with the title, How I Won the European Elections. I saw Nico Milana is another YouTuber that did similar things in UK. I got inspired and I wanted to do it for my country, Cyprus. So it was the European elections, and I ran to make a YouTube video. I said, worst case scenario, I make a YouTube video and I make money. So it was not I did it for fun. But as I did it, I have a problem when I put something my focus on. I never stop until I do everything in my power for me to feel that I did anything in my power. So I took it very personal. I wanted to make everything possible to make sure that I give my best. So it was 6 months, very beautiful, of very innovative ways of campaigning. I took this YouTube word and I put it into the campaigning stuff. So I wanted to be useful with society. I started a podcast channel in Cyprus. I was trying to be useful to society, basically. That was my goal. Like, for example, one stupid thing that we had in Cyprus, to give you an example, is people need to register to vote. You are not automatically registered. So I started a campaign to break the record in Cyprus of people getting registered to vote. So I was going to schools, to universities. I ran a marathon from not a marathon. I ran from one side to the other side of the country. It was like 80 kilometers and I was wearing a t-shirt of registered to vote. So I did all these, like I was live streaming in villages with grandpas and grandmas and all this stuff. So I took all these like YouTube word and I put it into the campaigning word, and I ended up being the most voted person in the country in the European elections. We sent 6 members of the European Parliament, and I was the most voted. Oh, wow. So yeah, I took it. In Cyprus, we have some corruption. People are not very satisfied with the politics. So it was not me. It was a combination of me being, like, for example, a success YouTuber, and I finished the Navy SEALs and all this stuff, but also a combination of people that are angry with the fucking politics, that they don't really understand, they're being lied to, there's corruption and all this stuff. So all this resulted to this crazy, I was the first ever person in my country that got elected independent. And yeah, so many cool things. And then I came in the European Parliament and didn't know anything about politics. So that was interesting.
Tell me, that's actually, I love the story, because you're an outsider, you're a YouTuber that did this as a joke and ended up in the Parliament, in the European Parliament. What was it like? And maybe give us kind of a story of how you started learning all the different things, and an insider's look for an outsider into how European politics works.
Yeah. First of all, I will say that it's actually an advantage when you don't know a field, a topic, and you come, but you are successful in a different topic. Like I was a YouTuber, I knew how the content world, the media works, but I came into the politics world and I didn't know anything. And like, I don't know if you, if people, I heard Elon Musk say this, when you come from one industry to the other industry and you bring all the knowledge to the other industry, you make in a way miracles. Like for example, he did Tesla with all this factory knowledge and all this stuff, and he applied this to the rocket factory.
SpaceX.
So SpaceX, yes. So yeah, that's and now I came with all this knowledge about YouTube and media, how this works, and all these X and how content works. And I came inside the European Parliament, and I used all of this, and it was a huge asset because what is politics anyway? It's just influencing people, influencing policies. A big part of being a politician is about communicate your message, getting elected. So it's like it was very, very, very beneficial. And since I was a YouTuber, I came in the European Parliament and I wanted to win the trust of this institution. So because I wanted to work with these people and I wanted to make friends, make policies and all this stuff be useful. So I was making videos about how the European Parliament works, how the European Union works, what is the things here in the European Parliament, how does it work? And all the kids, for example, of these members of the European Parliament, my colleagues here and all this stuff, they started watching me, they started seeing all this stuff. And then in a way I was like the cool kid in the block when I entered the European Parliament, and I started getting a lot of attention in a good way, other people recognizing me, making friendships, all this stuff. I decided to stay independent, but it took me about like a year, 6 months to a year to get familiar with the space here and understand how to be useful and all this stuff. But I would say that everyone comes here and they don't know what the fuck is happening here if they never work here in the European Parliament. But I'm the one that admits that I didn't know anything. So you come here, like European politics is very complicated. Even if you work on local politics in your country, Cyprus or Germany, all this stuff, it's like very different. So you are coming here and you have a lot of the members, they're struggling. It takes them a year. Anyway, so after a year, now I started being very familiar. I hire, which the most important thing is to hire the right people. So yeah, I think I summarized the entry of the parliament.
What
but
was
we can
your
talk more about political things about the EU now, if that was your question.
That's what I want to get into, because the EU is getting a lot of criticism, including you mentioned Elon. He's very critical of the EU. The EU is targeting him and targeting X as well. And there's a battle that's been going on for over a year. We're seeing, I love Europe. I've spent a lot of time, including Cyprus and the UK, France, Germany, Hungary, Bulgaria, list goes on. So
How many times you came to Cyprus?
My biggest business partner is in Cyprus. I've been there 4 or 5 times to see him and the family. And a good friend of mine, who's also the producer of the show, who you spoke to with just before me, he's from Cyprus as well. So I've been there a few times, at least 5 times. So what would you say is the biggest misconception about the EU, and maybe starting to dig into about the criticism that it's getting? You know, the centralization of power in Brussels, the crackdown on free speech, the red tape that we see there that just kills innovation, that kills progress. Would love to get your take on all these topics and what you found to be most concerning.
Yeah. By the way, I'm surprised. I was going to be surprised with myself 1 year ago if I... with all this stuff that I learned, because I learned a lot of things very fast, and I'm very happy with the improvement that I see myself every day in a new topic that I didn't know anything about 1.5 years ago, and I'm happy with how it's evolving. But anyway, so let's talk about the European Union. So the European Union, for everyone to understand, it's a very complicated institution. It's not a country. We're not like, so the way that it operates, it's very bureaucratic. So we have like, there is no president or something to take decision. There is like 4 bodies in the EU that take decisions, the European Parliament, the European Commission. There is other bodies that they are taking decisions, the Council of the European Union, and they are taking decisions on behalf sometimes, most of the times on countries. So it's a huge bureaucracy. It's a huge bureaucracy that, and we can talk more about bureaucracy because I think that's one of the biggest problems that we have in the European Union. So it's a huge bureaucracy that takes so much time to act, to all this stuff. So, this is, if you see the EU, I don't think it's in a good state right now. First of all, we are in war. We are in war with Russia. So we are funding the Ukraine war, and who is the winner here? Definitely not us. We are buying weapons from the Americans. We are not in a very good relationship with China, and like the most 3 powerful countries in the world, which is China, Russia, and United States. We are pushing definitely Russia away and China through what we're doing, and like we're pushing Russia.
Trump is not too happy with you guys either.
Yes, and we're pushing Russia to China's hand, and Russia is inside the European Union. It's like a European country
instead of the European
way.
continent.
Yeah. So. For me, I think that's a mistake to push Russia away. We can cooperate with Russia. It's a huge economy, huge stuff that we can do together, and this will be in the benefit of us and Russia as well. We need to stop the war immediately, start the diplomatic ties. But I think if we are talking about the biggest problems, we are at war. So
I want to get your thoughts on this. So let's talk about this, Fidias. One of the main things people have to criticize you for is for being pro-Russian.
Yes,
you visited Moscow.
Putin's puppet.
Exactly. They'll have to call you Putin's puppet. Maybe first clarify your stance on Russia. Do you think, what is your position on the invasion itself, and how do you think Europe should respond to the war, and what should they do now? Because it's a very tricky situation Europe is in. Because Ukraine wants to join the European Union as well.
It is an invasion that happened. I don't support the invasion, but let's put Ukraine is not a part of the 27 members of the European Union, but my country Cyprus is, and we had an invasion from Turkey, and the European Union is doing nothing to put this to an end, to make a lasting solution between in the island. In the other side, Ukraine is not inside the European Union, and they are paying and paying and paying. They are speeding all the process for Ukraine to join the European Union, all this stuff, and we are paying weapons for us to fund the war, a war that it will never be won. Like this is the big problem. We are losing everyday territory. So instead of us continuing, let's cut our losses short. Let's put an end to this with a diplomatic solution for people to stop dying. And this, I feel that, I think it's a proxy war between the United States that started it, and to make us European weaker and Russia weaker. We are spending money, we are buying from the Americans. Russia is at war with Europe. So we are losing both. And this is a proxy war and this was admitted by the Trump government. So Rubio said this as well. It's not that you believe everything that Rubio says, but this is, I think, what happened. So we shouldn't be. A lot of mistakes happened in the past. Let's stop this war. And I think at one point, you are going to do it. Do it now. Cut your losses short. And now we see some leaders inside the European Union saying some comments about let's start the diplomatic effort and all this stuff because they understand how damaging this is to Germany's economy, to all the economy in Europe and all this stuff. So hopefully we'll have an end on this soon. But yeah, this is when they cannot attack with arguments, they attack with labels. They attack with you are a Russophile, you are puppets puppet of Putin. So that's I think what's happened.
I think it's a very good point. In 2008, in the Bucharest summit, it was the US that was very critical of Russia, that wanted to weaken Russia, and it was European, and they wanted Ukraine to join NATO, and it was I think Germany and France at the time. They were opposing this. So I've always said that Europe is stuck in a very difficult position. I'm glad you said the same thing. Between a proxy war between the US that was pretty open about wanting to overextend, weaken Russia, as they did in Afghanistan for the Soviet Union, and obviously Russia that have their own ambitions, whatever they are, security concerns, territorial, expanding their territory, whatever it is. Now, Europe is in this position. You said a diplomatic solution is the best solution. Diplomacy is happening as we speak. There was a 20-point plan. I don't know how many points it's at now. We've been at 95% of the way there for many months. So if you're saying let's cut our losses short, so accept
Cut
any
the
terms,
support.
cut the support, completely cut the support, just leave Ukraine. Do you worry that? Is a better solution, in your opinion, to accept the terms on the table now, which is completely giving up the Donbass?
Let's have now push for peace in some favorable terms for us. But I think we should push but I think actually the United States position should have been to cut the support a long time ago.
Which they kind of did now.
Yeah. They
now they're making you guys pay it.
They are profiting.
Exactly. In many ways, for many people would argue the US played a key role in starting this war, and now the US is profiting from this war, and Europe is the one coughing up the bill.
But I think you are hitting on another point that we probably should discuss, is that what the fuck should the European Union should be doing for defense? The European Union, so how the world works is where it's an anarchic place of countries that the most powerful survives, or the most powerful push the other around. We saw this with Venezuela. There is countless examples to see that this is what is happening in the world through history. The most powerful, if you are powerful, you matter. If you are not powerful, they push you around, and this is like one example of what happened with the trade agreement and tariffs with the United States and Europe. So Trump, because he has so much leverage over us, they did this unfavorable, definitely, terms of the tariffs and all the trade agreement with the United States and the EU. So we are now in a very tricky situation that United States have been taking care of our military, of our everything so far, and that we now depend on the United States. So that's why we accept. But in Europe, we have 450 million population. We have one of the biggest economies in the entire world. So what the fuck why the fuck we are dependent so much on the United States, which is lower amount of people? And so it's very important for us to start building our defense, not the defense of Ukraine. It's an important point. That's why sometimes when we vote to build our defense here, we're voting more to build the defense of Ukraine, not to build the defense of Europe. Then I'm voting against that. So we need to start building.
But if Ukraine joins the EU, if Ukraine joins the European Union, if that happens later on, which is on the table right now, and Ukraine's military is powerful, it's one of the most powerful militaries right now because of all the aid. Ukraine would become a military within Europe. That Ukraine says the Ukrainian
will bring so much more problems as well with with them that they have. They are
Because
now,
the clashes with Russia.
we need no, all of them, all of the stuff. We so much after so much time that they are being at war, they have corruption. They have so many stuff that are problems.
Have a war economy.
They need help with infrastructure. Buildings are destroyed. All this stuff. So yes, so they bring also in the table, and also we have so many other problems in the EU. It's like we cannot. If you are, I'm skeptical. I'm in favor sometimes countries joining the EU, but I'm skeptical because when you have a business that is not very successful, you have a lot of internal problems, you don't go and open more shops. You fix your internal problems and then you open more shops. I'm not sure if...
No, you made a good point. The European Union is dysfunctional. There's a lot of disagreements. They've become too reliant on the US. The economy is suffering. Germany's energy industry is destroyed. Now, finally, they're realizing it. They're admitting it.
EU's Germany.
Exactly. The EU's in massive debt. Like, Europe is one of the most heartbreaking stories of this century. My question to you is why? Like, when you speak to members of parliament, are they just stuck in bureaucracy saying, hey, Fidias, this is the way it is? Are they delusional? They don't realize how weak they've become? What is their mentality?
I don't know. I think, it's all these institutions, a lot of democracy, all this stuff. It's sometimes, I don't know. The vote, the reason why I think is a problem is because, as I understand it, is because the people in the countries don't really talk about European politics. They don't care about European. Like in my country, before I got elected, nobody even knew who are the members of the parliament of the that we send in the EU. And that's the case in most countries. European politics is not something sexy, but it affects more than 50% of the regulations of the countries of the EU. So it's very important. So I think the problem is that all these people they are elected most of the times with parties that have been in the establishment, and they put them in the list, and they became, in a way, they send the same people to the European Parliament, and it became like a thing that it's so much bureaucracy that it's managing now. It's a huge animal that nobody can manage it right now. So I think it's it derailed to this huge bureaucracy that we cannot make decisions. Like, it's been so many months that it's been 1.5 years since I came here in the European Parliament, and I was hearing in the beginning about this famous Draghi report that we need to improve innovation in Europe, and we need to kill all these regulations to allow startups to evolve and all this stuff, and nothing is happening. Like, it takes so much time to do everything. And I feel this so much here. Like, this is an inside information from here in the European Parliament. There is 100%. The people here are focused, are working so much, but they are working about so irrelevant stuff. 80% of their focus is on fucking bullshit. They are working, writing everywhere their opinion about what is happening somewhere outside the EU, and we need to vote. And it's like they are not focusing on the 20% that stuff that matter. So yeah. And the thing here, I was thinking also, how the fuck you can change the EU? And the only way is like so difficult. It's not you get this person elected and you need to get a president elected in one country, in Germany, and then in France, and then in Italy, and then in other countries that are powerful in Europe, like Poland, Romania, and then you need all these presidents to cooperate, to agree, and also you need to send also members of the European Parliament that agree on this. So it's like so many parts that need to happen for change to happen. Yeah, this is what I'm also trying to do. We can talk later also about the party that I'm starting in Cyprus, and we started a party in Cyprus called Direct Democracy. We can talk about direct democracy, but the goal is have election is 4 months. If this works, it's a new type of party that works with direct democracy. Very weird in comparison to other parties. But the goal is to copy-paste this party to a lot of countries in the European Union. Like, for example, Greece has elections in 1 year. Maybe we can make, and there is some parties that exist like this. Volt, for example, is a party that have branches in Germany, in Denmark, in Cyprus. So we can do this and send lots in every country now with translation and dubbing and all this stuff. We can send copy paste this and send a lot of members to the European Parliament, so we can actually matter and have a majority. And this is what I'm also trying to do here in the Parliament. I'm independent, but we're trying to form a group now with other members of the European Parliament that we agree to try to affect European politics
Interesting.
more.
So essentially what you're saying, to understand that last point before we go back to the bureaucracy of the EU, the idea that you have is you create a party that's not based in one country but has branches in multiple countries, and this way you have more influence in the European Union, because the way the European Union is, each country sends members of parliament, and the way it works right now is that different blocks, different political groups form alliances in the European Union. Your idea is, why not create a political bloc that has branches in multiple countries along a certain message, and this way it gives you more influence in the European Union, correct?
Yes. So,
Interesting.
but there is some problems with this, as you can imagine, because I speak Greek. This needs to go to Italy as well. So it needs to localize. We need to find.
You need
people,
to partner with someone.
Yes. You need to find people that. But I will explain you a bit the mechanics of this, because they're very interesting. Like, for example, in this party in Cyprus. First of all, let's talk a bit about. I think politics sucks, because the concept is for politicians to follow the will of the people. Like, this is what politics is. Like, you get elected based on a program that you are a president. I say, these are my policies. A party, these are my policies. And like, you maybe agree with one part of their policies, but you disagree with other three. So I think this is like, you need to have some choices, and usually the choices is like 2 choices that are fucking shit and you don't even want to vote one of the 2. So I think and also we see so much polarization on politics and all this stuff. So I think I wanted to rethink this stuff and rethink democracy from the beginning. So rethinking democracy, it's people choose their future. This is what democracy is. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but essentially this is what democracy is. But in a way you have like stuff in between, because you choose one member of the European Parliament, then they follow the policies of their parties, they vote so you cannot control. So this is one thing that I am doing. Like, for example, here in the European Parliament, I will tell you also the mechanic. I have this application. It's called Agora, and here I put votes. Like, for example, if we vote, Ursula von der Leyen is essentially the leader of the EU in a way. So if we vote, if we want for her to stay in power or not, important votes, I put it inside the app, and people that voted for me in Cyprus, we have 20,000 users in Cyprus, vote if they want. I tell them, these are the minus, these are the plus, she did some good, and people
So
vote.
you let them make the decision instead of you making the decision and them not caring about it.
Yes, and this is a way, I think, revolutionizing societies, because in a way
is
we
cool.
always, in societies, we are angry with the politicians, and if we share responsibility, and of course they are not going to make 100% the right choices all the time, as politicians. You might know that they not always make the right choices. So, but we are going to learn as society together, and we are going to share responsibility, and we voted for this, and maybe it was a bad idea, and we are growing and learning more stuff. And especially now with technological advancement, with artificial intelligence and all this stuff, I think this will be the way that we're going to govern ourselves in the future. But it's important, I don't put everything for them to vote. I put one, like here we in the European Parliament, we vote 100 times a month. I put them one vote that is the most important or important. So it's not like, it's a hybrid version. So in a way, we started with this philosophy, we started a party, and it's in a way a startup, and we want to see the mechanics of direct democracy in action. So, for example, in this application that I'm telling you, now we need to choose 56 people that we are going to be in the ballot in the elections. In 4 months, we have elections in Cyprus that will be parliamentary election, and we need to choose 56 people. So I said to everyone in Cyprus, guys, anyone can apply to become a candidate. We have now 200 people that apply to become candidates, and I'm interviewing them personally, and they get hundreds of thousands of views this podcast, and then we're in 5 to 7 of March, we're going to do elections inside the app for people to choose their candidates,
That
not
is interesting.
me.
That is so interesting. So essentially, this is like the core. That's how democracy should actually function. Because right now, democracy has become very flawed, and power has been centralized, where people vote for a politician based on the messaging, and then when the politician is voted in, they can start making decisions that have nothing to do with the initial mandate they received, and people are not are too lazy, or they don't care enough to follow the complexities, or they get tricked by the media. So what you're doing is essentially allowing people to vote on an app certain policies, the important ones, and also to vote the members that you want to add into parliament or into a political party or into Congress,
And
whatever.
anyone has the opportunity to be a candidate. This
And
is
to
very
be
important.
interviewed live as well. Like the amount of the transparency that comes with it is that's a really interesting initiative.
But it's interesting. Like we in Cyprus is like a huge thing, by the way. Like people wait for the next candidate now because it's like X Factor. There is some so dumb people that they come.
You made politics fun again, made it sexy again.
Yes, so a lot of people are interested, a lot of people are starting to understand what is going on and all this stuff, and a lot of people are participating because, like, let's face it, like 50% of the society is not voting, so they don't like what is happening. So this is the people that I'm trying also to appeal to, these people that they don't really care, but to engage them. So the way that this will function also, because in a party you need to have priorities in a way and policies. So we have, in a way, inside the application, we have this button here, and it puts tell the priorities of the party. So we have now, out of these 20,000 people, 2,000 people that they put their these are low number, guys, but Cyprus is small. It's only 1 million population. So for Cyprus is big. So 2,000 people that they put their priorities, and they say, okay, my first priority is the economy. Everything is so expensive. Second priority, social justice and corruption. Third priority, it's the school system. Fourth priority that came up is immigration. So we are not the party that we have an opinion about everything. We will only develop policies about these 4 things, and we shape them with the people. So we ask them. We ask them, like I'm asking them personally in the European Union, immigration, what is your policy? Do you want stronger borders or less stronger borders? So we are going to kind of lean to the direction that the people will decide. And you see, here is the cool thing, because I am so fucking bored of politics that everything is a responsibility of me, and always people are fucking angry with me. So now I'm taking this and I'm saying, let's guys share the power and shut up. We decide all together. So,
I like that. I like that. I'm gonna give you guys power, but shut the hell up and don't complain about everything. Because people in politics love to complain about the politician that they voted in every single country. I want to go back to the thing first. Fascinating concept. Really, I didn't expect it to be that interesting. I want to go back to the original point you made. Is how I asked you the question: is why is Europe killing itself, destroying itself from within? And you said, you kind of took a breath and you said it's bureaucracy.
But by the way, I want to, before we leave from this topic, I want to say that I started this political party 3 months ago in Cyprus, and the first week were showing us 3%, then it was 5%, then it was 8%, now the polls show us 10%, and in the elections will be in 4 months. I don't really believe the polls, because the last time that I was independent, they showed me like 8% and I got 20% of the vote. This will be probably an interesting case study, because we are going to actually get a lot of members in the parliament and we're going to see this in action. So yeah, anyway, so I'm very excited about this.
It is very exciting. I didn't expect a discussion about a political party to be that fascinating, because you're rewriting how democracies work. So it's a very, very interesting experiment that I think other countries should pay attention to. So now I'll go back to the original point about the bureaucracy you talked about Europe. And it reminded me of a conversation I was having with the recruitment agency today. So I'm hiring a CEO for one of my companies. The company's been around for it's the first company that I started, about 14 years now. And they asked me, like, Mario, why do you think you need someone new to come and shake it up? I'm like, it's stuck in what they call the innovator's dilemma. So the company's become so big and so used to the way of doing things and stuck in their norms that it's not innovating. It's not coming up with new ideas. It's not breaking the rules. And that's a concept in business. And I feel the same thing is happening in Europe, where Europe's existed for so long. It's been a superpower, one of the biggest economies as a bloc for so long. But it has disintegrated since. Is it waking up to the new reality, or is it still stuck in its comfort zone that is still degrading it from within?
No, I don't think it's waking up. I think we're going to have continue being stupid for the next 3 years, and hopefully the next mandate, when we're going to different members of the European Parliament will be voted. Hopefully, will be voted more in favor of to kill the bureaucracy. Bureaucracy in a certain extent is useful, but to make everything more efficient, to take a lot of decisions on the right direction, build infrastructure, energy, solve the problem of immigration that we have in Europe, the fertilization problem that we are not making kids, all this problem. We need to have policies that are like, we need to make it, because Europe is so beautiful, we need to make it also cool. We need to make it cool to be a European. We need to make it exciting to be a European, to look in the future and see. Because like the United States is doing all this stuff with space, with SpaceX, all this stuff. There is innovation. Companies are happening, popping here and there. ChatGPT, all this stuff. We want to make interesting stuff. We need a lot more innovation to happen. And that's what I'm afraid, because I feel that the next 5 years will be the most important years in his story of humanity, because of artificial intelligence. And I think we are already last in the most important race in the humanity. So with China, Russia, United States, all these countries were nowhere near. They surpassed us in all the fronts.
I also feel that Europe is just being stepped on by all the superpowers, which is what you mentioned earlier. Greenland is the latest example. The one before that is Ukraine, and China's been pretty aggressive and strict. We saw that in the UK when it comes to the embassy, standing their ground. It's just that Europe just doesn't have as much pull as it once had. I want to go to a statement that Orbán made. He said that Europe will fail. The European Union will fail. We have Elon said the EU should be abolished and sovereignty returned to individual countries. Do you think the European experiment could end up failing?
It could end up failing. Anything can fail. But, all this... I said so many bad things about the European Union, as you understood in this discussion that we have. But, I'm pro-European. I love the European Union. I think it's a good project. It started as a peace project. It started as an economic trade project. And we, in a way, like I will speak also for my country, Cyprus. Cyprus is 1 million population. In a world that is not in a family of countries, it's very difficult to matter. And it's very difficult to keep your existence if one country is more powerful and come and surpass you and fuck you. So in a way,
like Turkey in whenever 70s,
like
whatever
Turkey
it was.
did in 1974. So it's important for us to be united, because united you can achieve more. We can punch above our weight. When we do a trade deal with, like for example, China, or I don't know, or like Mercosur agreement, all this stuff, when we are negotiating on behalf of 27 countries, we can have a better terms for everyone because of the leverage that we bring. So I think the European Union, it's a very beautiful project. But as I am saying, because I fucking love the European Union, I want to say all these bad things and negative things that are happening.
So it improves because you care.
Them.
Let me give you the statistic, Fidias. In 2024, you talked about how behind Europe is in tech, and AI is the next front. In 2024, the EU collected 3.8 billion euros in fines from US-based tech companies. That's Apple, Meta, LinkedIn, Uber, etc. X as well. All listed European tech companies combined, they paid $3.2 billion in taxes. So essentially, all of European tech sector in taxes, which are pretty fucking high in Europe, paid less than what Europe fines extortion from US tech companies, which gives you an idea of how bad the situation is. And I'm saying this as well. I criticize the EU a lot, and it does come from a place of love. I spent a lot of time in Europe. One of the regions I spent the most time outside my home country of Australia. It is a beautiful, beautiful country. But in theory, the European Union is very exciting. But practically speaking, the results are not there. And this is why the critique of abolishing the EU, which for me was something you would not even discuss, because like a big no-no, is something that at least is worth looking into as a possible. Because if you say you love the EU, where are these, and the experiment could work, where are the results? It's been decades. Where are the results of the European Union?
Yeah, I don't think this is a conversation worth having, because like in theory, the more stronger you are, the more other countries will respect you. You're going to get more things done in the world that we are living. So for me, being united, 27 countries, it's better. So it surpassed all this stuff of that you said is worth.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
In the EU, all this stuff, I don't think, but it's worth. I think rethinking how to reform the EU into something more efficient, something that works
more like a startup, and less like a fat established company.
Yeah, but we need to be careful, because we don't want to, because the motto of the EU is united in diversity. We don't want to lose the sovereignty of every country in one European country that will be like the United States and having states and stuff. So we don't want this. We want to keep being sovereign, but we want, in a way, better cooperation with everyone. Better.
Yeah, I was going to say one big win. Sorry to interrupt you, Fidias. One big win would be Europe is a continent that's been through centuries of war. And now it's a continent that's had peacetime for so many years, a few exceptions, Ukraine, Yugoslavia. So that could be a win of the European Union, a big win for the EU.
This started as a peace project. Germany and France was the biggest enemies, and now they are cooperating.
Exactly. That's what I mean. This is a big win. This is the biggest achievement. Exactly. This is the biggest achievement. So I'm saying, what is the positive side of it? Europe has been in wars for since its existence, but now it's had such a long period of peacetime, especially last 2 decades.
But I want to comment on what you said
Please.
there on the fines and stuff. Yeah, to me it's crazy. And like I will give you one example, the craziness of this stuff. So Facebook now, it's been a couple of months now, they stop political advertising in Europe. The reason why they stop, like as a politician, you cannot go and do ads in Europe because the regulation that we put, it was so complicated
They just
for
gave up.
them to comply with this regulation. The bureaucracy that the people that they had to hire to comply, it was not worth it for them to even have ads. So this is like, like when it comes down, it's like this is a great example why this bureaucracy, these regulations, they are not like, oh, this regulation or this specific regulation. It's like all this regulation combined is like puts these two companies and makes them not breathe.
Do you think that the EU has too much power? Do you think that sovereignty has been taken away from member states?
For now, no, but it's in danger of this happening because now they are trying to sometimes to make stuff happen. They try to bypass the countries. So I don't feel at this point that we are living right now that the EU has more power than it should. But it's trying to get there, which I see it right now, like with. But I want defense, but not a European armies. We want to cooperate in countries together to make our defense all better and united, but not a European army that will fight. So we need to. It's very tricky how you can keep your sovereignty and also how you don't become one European state together. So it's a tricky situation. We need to find a way to balance, and I need to educate myself more on this balance better, how we can make that happen more efficiently.
I like how you say, you want to educate yourself, because there's a European thing where they feel like, you speak to Europeans, especially those in power, they feel like they know it all. There is that kind of smug attitude that some of them have, which you don't have.
I think it's everywhere. I think also in the United States they feel that they know all the people
I think so.
in power. Also,
I think so as well. European, I think I have it a bit more.
They have this high morality that I am like
better than you. We are better than you.
And I will tell you how you are going to behave other countries and all this stuff. And we see this with colonization. This is.
What do you think about Hungary having to pay? And when I spoke to Orbán, that was probably his biggest criticism of the EU. He's like, Mario, we pay the EU because we want closed borders. We don't want to ruin our identity through illegal immigration. You think that's fair? Paying such a fine?
Well, I think Orbán sometimes
it's feeling like mafia almost, extortion.
Orbán sometimes it goes too far, and his play is not sometimes to be more diplomatic. I think Fico is playing a better game than Orbán. Fico has similar ideation about the Ukraine war and all this stuff.
I've interviewed Fico. I know him well. Very, a lot more mild.
But he's playing this more better, this game of like whatever is the anti. He's not, but EU is trying to punish him. Here in the European Parliament, a lot of people are trying to, they are hard to punish Hungary on a lot of stuff because of the approach of Orbán. So it's not a great approach that he's using because he's damaging sometimes his country with this, like, I'm the rebel of the EU and like I'm the outcast and all this stuff. So he could play it a lot more diplomatic in a way.
I want to go to
but I agree with this immigration. Like, with immigration, it's a problem. You
Eh,
don't want
please,
people to come in your country and for you to not know who are they, for them to not be useful to society. Legal immigration is the way. If you want to solve this problem, legal immigration is the way. It's fucking stupid what is happening. And like we have this also in Cyprus. So many people, they got asylum for no reason. I spoke with them, and these people are like, oh, I came here from some country, I don't know, it was
Middle
I
East,
forgot,
probably,
yeah, in the
or
Middle East,
Africa.
some country in the Middle East, and like I came here and they told me that they need more people to work illegally, and I called my cousins and they came here and we're working now as a family because. And so if you have this, you attract these people, but you need to have very strict rules and comply and enforce the rules so you don't attract, and to give them, like, you give them money and support and all this stuff. So yeah, it's
Yeah, the immigration story, as an immigrant to Australia, I empathize with immigrants, illegal and legal. I empathize with the people seeking a better life. But for a country to just open its borders like Europe did, it's destroying its identity. To see the name Muhammad, I have nothing against Islam, obviously, but to see the name Muhammad being the most common names in countries like the UK, I think Finland, I think Belgium, a whole bunch of European countries for years now, for babies born, Muhammad is the most common name. If that's not a red flag, I don't know what is.
yeah, but I think we are also going too far because there is so much of polarization on this thing. We make, okay, they are coming here, but now in Cyprus, for example, and I think in the rest of the EU, we have so much because of this. It's not right. Like, as a country, you don't want to have illegal immigrants that they are not contributing to the society, and you don't know, and the crime is going up and all this stuff. But we polarize, like we make the people in the countries hate them, and like we polarize. So that's another problem. We need to be careful.
But is it, I agree.
We need to say that we love all people, but for a factional society, this needs to happen. Like, it doesn't matter if you are Pakistani or Indian or Cypriot. It's not about the Mohammed, or it's not but it's about preserving the country. So that's what
I'll give you.
I have a problem with.
True, it is being weaponized, and I think hate is a strong word. Hating immigrants, as I started, I empathize with immigrants, even illegal immigrants. These are people trying to seek a better life from any countries that have starvation, war, civil war. But when you say people are just, you're seeing that polarization and that hate against immigration, it's because of the policies. When you let so many immigrants in illegally and you don't manage it well, people will be upset. People will rise up
because of the policies, but now we brought us to in a way so polarized, almost civil war in every country with illegal immigration. So yeah, it's. I agree with you. It's the policies that brought us here, but like it's not a great result to have a divided society and to hate one part of the people that are living in the country.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's difficult to disagree with that. The other thing I wanted to ask you about is Elon's been very, very supportive of you. You famously gave him a hug before he got into politics in 2023, and he called you a good man. He said Fidias for president of the EU. Why do you think Elon's been so supportive of you? What does he like about what you're doing in Europe? I see you as someone shaking up the European Union, and someone needs to do that there. That's what my guess would be, but would love to get your take on it. And also, more importantly, my main question is, why does the EU hate Elon so much?
That's a lot of questions about Elon, but I will try to answer all of them. So I love Elon Musk. It's very difficult to say this here in the European Parliament. So I don't like everything about Elon Musk. Sometimes he's polarizing, like doing some hate speech towards some groups and all this stuff. But I don't love everything. But what I grew up and listening to Elon Musk, and he was in a way my biggest university. I didn't went to university. I was hearing his speeches, his all the stuff, podcasts that he was doing, and hearing from the most successful entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur myself, I learned so many things from him. And this is, I admire a lot of the stuff that he's doing. So I was a YouTuber, and didn't have anything to do with my time. I just wanted to I was doing YouTube videos to make money and to get attention of the people, and because I love to influence people in with my videos, influence in more like interesting way. Like for example, I was traveling across countries for free, and and people were giving me rides and hitchhiking. I was showing the good of the world, and these videos were getting tens of millions of views. So this is what I was trying to do. So I wanted to do this also. I was like, my favorite person in the world is Elon Musk. So I want to go and give him a hug. So I went outside SpaceX. I was sleeping in my sleeping bag for like it was 3 months. Every day I was making videos trying to give him a hug. He was not paying any attention to me. I was making YouTube videos, TikTok videos all the time. And at like day 40, 50, this became like mega viral. It was like 10 million views every video was getting. Elon was getting bombarded from everywhere in his comments and all this stuff to hug me. It's just so stupid. I just wanted to hug him. It's like nothing, but it's to find a way as a nobody. I'm a kid from Cyprus, to force one of the most powerful people in the world to spend attention to you, spend some time with you, to give you a hug. I thought that it was a fun goal to do. So after 69 days, he agreed to give me a hug. We gave a hug. It was for 10 minutes. He thought that I'm very weird because I was very loud and all this stuff. I gave him a hug and left. After, when I was elected as a politician, he started like reposting congratulations Fidia, and like reposting the stuff that I'm doing in the EU, which I found like for me very cool. Like every repost of Elon Musk, it gets like 100 million views. It's not a joke. Like when I'm regularly getting like 1 million views in every video that I upload. So yeah, it helped a lot, the thing here in the parliament. Also damage, because everyone here in the European Parliament, not everyone, like I would say most of people here in the European Parliament, they don't like him. Political reasons, because he was with Trump, because of X and all this stuff. So it sometimes damaged, because when I came here, because he was reposting a lot my post, it was articles, Elon Musk man in the European Parliament and all this stuff. He says, sometimes I went to people to convince them to vote for me on some stuff that I wanted. And they said, I will never vote for you. I don't know the link between you and Elon, and I don't trust you. I will never vote for you. So, but on the other side, it helped me a lot with others. So I'm not complaining. So, so I think Elon is agreeing with some of the stuff that I'm saying, and Elon, in a way, understands how information works. So he amplifies. He wants to amplify voices that he agrees with, because he cannot make himself the content about this stuff. But when he sees something that he agrees, it's like he's trying to influence society with his ideas and with the stuff that he agrees with. So a lot of this time, when I'm talking about freedom of speech, when I'm talking about stuff that we agree with Elon, he reposts about being but he usually reposts the stuff that are a bit critical to the EU. Not when I say EU is a good project, but it's okay.
I don't blame him. Like the way the EU is targeted. My biggest critique is the way it's targeted free speech. The way they targeted the X. X. What Elon did with X is probably the biggest thing anyone's done to free speech and freedom of expression.
I agree.
I wouldn't, like, he's struggled so much to deal with that targeting in the US, and that is ongoing now in Europe. Yeah, it's upsetting. It's upsetting that an American man is the one fighting for free speech in Europe instead of a European man. It would be nice to have someone in
Yeah.
Europe supporting Elon
But
to that extent.
it's admire like things were going to be so completely different. Like I say here in the European Parliament, in the beginning we started fighting for the European for freedom of speech and all this stuff, and I say, guys, honestly, if it was not for Elon Musk, we were going to have a huge problem in the EU. But because of but there is some things that actually Elon was. When I understood how things work here in the European Parliament, so for everyone to understand in Europe, not in the European Parliament, for everyone to understand a bit about freedom of speech, so there is this way you need to moderate the content in somehow. You don't want all the videos like that are child abuse and all this stuff. You need someone to flag them and to moderate. But there is here paid stuff by the EU Commission, and they are moderating the content. I don't trust that they are moderating not in the way that the European Commission wants them to moderate, because they are getting money from them. That's a problem. You don't want the moderation to come from the government. You want to have freedom of speech, and like you do, maybe have things happen like we have evidence that happened in the past, like Biden influenced to get stuff about vaccines down. So you don't want the government to be decided. So Elon Musk came here and said, I will not use your stuff. I will use community notes. We're going to find different stuff. I will not pay, because you need to pay to come to this stuff. I will not pay. I will use find different ways. And this was a very big innovation, actually, to say this. I will not comply with this, because then other countries now are following this, like Facebook and all this stuff, and are following. And this was attacked. So that's why Elon was attacked so much, because he didn't use this by Europe. So yeah, that's in a nutshell, I think, what's the problem. So because you need freedom, like to say this, we need freedom of speech, because who am I or who is the government to decide what's right or wrong?
Democracy, you're talking about democracy or democracy first. Democracy wouldn't exist without freedom of speech.
Yes, it's
as
the
simple as
bedrock of democracy. So we need, but I don't think it's as bad now in Europe, to be honest.
I don't know, man.
I don't think after Elon, I'm not joking. After Elon Musk, what he did with these community notes, and like he does not come, and other companies are following, is not that bad. So it's portrayed a bit in the media that, but I don't feel it's so much censorship right now.
I don't know, man. Look at you're talking Europe. Look at the UK. Is one I've covered extensively.
Europe, UK is not inside the
Okay. You've cleaned your head. Fair enough. All right. Well, Fidias, it was an absolute pleasure meeting you for the first time. Really enjoyed this conversation. Love your experiment with Democracy First, I think it's called. Is it Democracy First? Yeah. Love the way you do it.
Direct democracy.
Direct democracy. Love what you're doing there, and would love to keep me posted. It's such a cool experiment. Congratulations on your success.
Thank you, my friend, and thank you for your work. I think you are doing an amazing new way of media, journalism. It's very cool what you are doing. I admire you as well.
Brother. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you guys for watching. We love you.